we ask you what your favorite ejection story is?
I was actually going to ask about highlights and lowlights, but I'm all for the ejection stories.
Jay, come on, Jay. 97, 98% accuracy, right, Jim?
I think my favorite one is, the one people like hearing about was the time that I ejected Barry Bonds. And, Barry is super good at his job. And of everybody that, I probably dealt with throughout my career, he probably knew the strike zone better than almost everybody. And some days better than me. He'd be like, that's out. And I'm like, you probably have a good point there to myself. I go, you might be right. But one day we were, I forget whether it was I think it was in San Francisco. And he hadn't played, right? So he's sitting on the bench and he ends up coming in pinch hit. And it was like a 3-1 count. And I called strike 2, and a little bit off the plate probably, but that's when that was acceptable. And he starts to take off his stuff and pretend he's going to walk, and I called strike 2, and he kind of gives me a look and comes back and gives me a look. Now, remember, he hadn't played all game. It's 8-1, and the next pitch he walks, and then they pinch run for him. So I'm like,
and pinch run for the pitch hitter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was for Barry Bonds because, it's 8-1. He doesn't need to be out there running, right? And so,
because he's got it like that.
Yeah. And I think Moises Alou was the manager at the time. And Barry, on his way back to the dugout, he had to go. It was on the third base side. So he's running by me, just staring at me. And again, I'm a younger umpire. So everything I did back, they just testing you all the time. So he runs, and it's 8-1. It's like the bottom of the eighth, right? And so of course the next batter I ring up, and the guy jumps like a foot in the air. And Rich Aurelia, nice guy, pretty good guy that I got along with, and I'm like, Rich, strike 3. So he goes back. Now I hear Bonds. And I knew there was going to be a problem here because normally when he's done, he just goes into the dugout. But now he's standing with, like this on the top step, watching everything I do. And then I ring up Rich. And then, I hear Barry, and I kind of let it go. And I go, hey, that's enough. And I end up ejecting him, right? And this is the problem with being an Italian. Or at least me, right? I talk with my hands. I got a short temper. And he comes out and gets in my face. And Moises comes out, and he's just, Bonds is yelling. And I swear to God, I don't even remember what he's saying because I'm just thinking to myself, you pinch hit. You've been following my performance for 5 pitches. And now you're going to get ejected, right? And I just go, you're not that effing good. That's all. That's the only thing that came out. You're not. In my mind, it was, you're not good enough to be yelling at me over the only 5 pitches you've been paying attention to all night. It's 8-1. Nobody else has said a word out, but that's all that comes out, right? I'm like, not that effing good. And everybody stops for like a split second. They're like,
gosh, that's awesome.
And everybody kind of goes away.
I've got this picture in my mind.
Yeah. And Alou, they interview Alou.
Did I really just say that?
Yeah. Well, no, I feel like it finally just came out. Right? Yeah. That's exactly what, so Alou says they said, hey, what happened with Bonds? He said, I didn't like some pitches. And then the umpire told him he wasn't very good. Apparently, Jimmy was a very good high school baseball player.